All right. Episode 269 AD after Dan is here. I'm super excited. And I am even more excited to have Jarrod here with us. Jarrod Twiss with Ranch Fence. If you don't know him, you got to get to know him because he's been a huge help in everything I've been doing. And it's almost like a security blanket for me. I reach out to Jarrod for pretty much anything and everything when it comes to it. So Jarrod, thank you for coming on the very first episode. It does make this a lot easier for me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited to be here. And it's easy to support you, right? When you're doing good things, dude. Whatever.
I appreciate it, man. And I know we go back quite a ways here, going on a couple of years now. And you were probably one of our very first members, even over at FWA. And you've just been, like I said, jumped on from the very beginning. Tell us a little bit about, I mean, you guys go back almost a good 20 years at Ranch Fence, but your family and you go back way further than that in the fence industry. So tell us a little bit about you and Ranch Fence and how all that started.
Well, yeah, I mean, similar to you and probably most fence people out there, I had, great uncles and grandpas and all that stuff come home from World War II and they started building fence. And then, I grew up on a ranch and built fence, whether I wanted to or not. And then, I essentially wanted to sell almonds is what I actually wanted to do. And we're going to get on this about you too. But yeah, so I wanted to sell almonds out of college and the money was good in this. And then, we have kids and then we have to get good at it. And I actually said this on the other podcast, but yeah, that's what my history is. And here we are. So I think we're coming up on 20 years next year of actually paying taxes and doing
so. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, and your crew, I mean, if you haven't met Jarrod's crew, it is, let's show you some of them. I don't know if you remember this picture.
There. Yeah.
Look at that. Let's count these. I mean, how many people do you bring over to the fence show? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15. Was there anybody left building fence in California when you came down here?
No, that was fun. That was a fun trip. And like I said on the last podcast too, you can't afford not to send them. It's so inexpensive, and I don't want to get into, all of that again and tell the same story, but my God, $75 rooms, the flights to Vegas are always cheap because they're subsidized by the casinos. And you invest in your people. Yeah, we have a really good team. I'm really proud of them. And I'll tell you what, everyone on our team talking about them they're stretching out of their comfort zone and they're making mistakes because, they don't know the role completely. And I just told them, I said, you guys, everyone's putting in the effort and putting in the time. I said, in October, we're going to be twice as good as we are now. So let's just grind it out, and let's get it done on this summer and we'll.
Yeah. And you got a young crew. How do you, I mean, if anybody was to ever meet your crew, they are some of the most respectful people, and I don't know if you just like warned them all before we met them, but they were some of the coolest and most respectful installers I ever met. I mean, it was amazing. How did you do that? How do you find, I mean, we're out here searching, even at Las Vegas Fence, we're searching for workers. How did you find these guys? And I mean, where do you pull them from?
You know what? We have a farm team, a feeder program. And I think I mentioned this once before, but it started kind of organically. We're in a rural area. And so I when we were growing this business and trying to get better at what we do, I would stay back and load the trucks at night. And I got some high school kids. I went to the local FFA. We have a phenomenal welding program. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, they were our FFA team was the best welding team in the state. And 2 of those kids on the team work for me. Anyways, we get these kids, they come in, they unload trucks. I cuss at them. They, wash the windows, they fill up the skid steers, they put diesel in and DEF and all that stuff. And then the beauty of it is you get them as a sophomore, you get them as, so they can drive. Yeah. And then it takes a ton of time and they do a lot of stupid stuff and they break things along the way. And it's, but, 2 two of our foremen went through it. We call it the my pet project. But anyways, yeah, we get those guys and we beat on them and love on them. And now we got, single moms coming, hey, can my son work for you? He needs something to do. And just a lot of that. The best ones are football players and wrestlers because, they've already been yelled at and ground down to nothing.
But build them back up.
But, and then, I mean, our two foremen, went through the whole program and they are just killing it right now. Yeah. But the other thing is when you take a school kid and throw him in on the fence line, he may not know exactly how to do a makeup and he may not know exactly how to, how tight to get the barbed wire, whatever. But he damn know if I tell him, hey, go get a wire dog, he knows exactly where it's at on the truck because he's put it away on the truck for the last 3 years. He's better at operating the skid steer than some of the new hires we have out in the field because he's moved it around the yard for 3 years. So there's a huge advantage. And they know how we like, I go out and pick that thing apart. I go, the chains don't go here. This goes there. Do it right next time. And so there's a learning curve for them, but you've already got a big jump and them, their personality, their disc assessment and all that stuff. So, yeah.
And they got friends. So I'm sure they're always hey, you need to make some money this summer. This is a good place to start. And I think we need to get more of that outreach stuff when it comes out to, contacting people right out of high school or college even and letting them know this is a great industry. I mean, you can learn to build fence. Next thing you know, you own a fence company and you've got you've got a couple trucks and it's a good way to feed your family and make a living. And I think sometimes the industry gets looked at as like it's a handyman kind of thing, but it's an actual trade. It's a skilled trade. Yeah.
Well, and not that, it's a great trade because I couldn't imagine being a plumber and just being inside all day. We're outside travel and we're seeing the sunrise and sometimes the sunset if we're trying to finish up. But I mean, it's a good trade. You're outside doing your thing. I love it.
Even on the training and stuff and the for the Fence University stuff we're doing, it's easy to develop stuff where you got people just sitting in there trying to teach fencers to learn from a book and just sitting there. And I think we've talked about it before, where how do we connect to the fencers and stuff out there? I mean, it's crazy. You could bring 10 fencers in and they would rather be out there in the outside of our classroom digging a hole and learning how to stretch fence than they would sitting in an air conditioned room and learning from a book. So I think it's just us. Get us to meet in the middle of a field with a generator, and we're just as happy as we are inside.
And I just recently heard Mike Rowe speak about, this Gen Z's becoming the tool belt generation. They're seeing that you don't have to go into $150,000 in debt for a job that's going to pay you, $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's changing. I was going to ask you, and I know someone else mentioned it, and I know you're part of that. The Red Brand Homegrown program. What is that? I know you stay pretty active in that.
Honestly, just Red Brand was a big supplier, in our area. Our distributor had it. They had big winter programs, and it's a decent wire. I mean, I'm sure a few people are going to lose their mind when I say, I don't care about all of those debates on high tensile or whatever, but. We just honestly we bought so much Red Brand. They started sending us some swag, and then I got on and filled out some stuff online and became an installer and stuff like that for them. So
I just saw it somewhere and I was like, man, I meant to ask you about it, and I figured this was the perfect time. Maybe I wasn't supposed to ask about it. I don't know.
No, we get rebates from it. It's just a program for them. They honestly we have a really phenomenal office staff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. That's not. Hey, we have. Go ahead.
We're going to be bringing some cool stuff too. I want to get with you on. I know we're going to be going out to some of the local fence companies in California and around the country. So we're definitely going to come out and visit you. And I did want to bring something up on how we're going to be, going. I know because we've discussed some of this you already know, but to let the people that are watching know where we're going with My Fence Life and the future and how we're going to try to get more involved in the industry and bring some information different than what everybody's used to seeing. So if you don't mind, I'm going to bring Brian back on here. We brought him on as a guest as well. And to give you everybody just a little taste of what we're going to be doing in some of the future episodes, let's bring him on. Everybody, I'm excited you're here watching our very first episode of My Fence Life since Brian started hosting this thing. Yes, Brian in the third person here. We're going to be bringing you some exciting stuff from around the country at Las Vegas Fence and other fence companies around the country. We're going to show you why we put fence signs on our gates in the shop before they go out in the field. We're going to take you around and show you why we label the ends of our posts with different colors to tell you whether it's tubing, structural weight, full weight, why we label our wire, what we got going on in our tool bin area over there. It's going to be exciting. We're super glad you're here to watch this. We're going to send this thing inside of you, Brian. I appreciate him letting us have it back. You know, he could really hog the screen sometimes.
Don't turn him loose on social media.
Yeah. Give us some insight. I know when I talked to you earlier, you said you had some material lists or something you were trying to get knocked out over for the cruise for tomorrow. Run us through like a process of what you do at the end of the day to get ready for tomorrow with your crews and the trucks.
Well, you know, we do, I mean, our business structure is a little different than most people. We don't just turn and flip jobs. You know, a lot of our jobs are a lot bigger. And we've been on one in San Jose, which is about 3 hours away, and they're finishing this week. Or they'll be about 99% done. But either way, we sent all the crews there because we had to just get that one knocked out. So everyone's coming back. So we are going all over next week with 2 different directions. And so it's, you know, 2 different material lists, truck list, tool list, all the stuff. So I had to get that stuff out the door so these, you know, the shop guys and the guys that stayed back can, you know, start getting all that squared away. You know, when we send something out, we start it every single time. You know, we check all the fluids and just double check everything. And, you know, we spend a lot of extra time getting it ready so that logistics, it's all done. So I had to get them a list. So yeah, I know we were trying to talk and I go, I got to get off the phone, man. I got to go. Yeah. So we're in full tilt right now.
I like that you said that too, because, you know, this morning there was a huge holdup getting out of the yard because we stop every truck, by the way, on the way out, and we have a checklist that you have to go through. And I think the biggest battle we have sometimes is they don't want to take the tools. And it is nothing more frustrating for me than when the crews get out there and they're calling up and they're, you know, the job's taking longer. They're calling up and they don't have something. And it's sometimes it's as silly as a wheelbarrow. They just didn't take a wheelbarrow. And, you know, if you don't have those checklists and you don't make them take it every single time and stop the truck. And when you said, and then circling back to when you said, fire up all the equipment, you know, get the generators running, start them up. We don't let a single piece of gas powered equipment leave this yard that didn't get started. And I had one of my crews who was kind of upset because they already loaded one of the beavers on the truck. And once you get that thing all wound up and on the truck and ready to go, and you know, I run through my checklist. Did you start that up? And you could see it in their face, right? They try to stutter a little bit and like, no, man, if you started it up, you'd be proud of it. You wouldn't, you just say, yeah. So we made them, you know, try to start it up. Then one of them jumped up there. And then I don't know if you're familiar with the beavers, you got to have the actual rod in there that pushes that toggle switch or something in, or it won't even run. So they were up there for a while pulling on it because they don't want to get it down, and then it didn't run. So then one of them had to run back to the shop to grab another one and wheel it out and put it on one of the other trucks that was going with them. And then, of course, it wouldn't start again. And they're like, oh, and then they realized they had to have that rod back in there. So it was definitely starting the equipment's a big deal. I don't know how many times you've had someone call you and say their generator's not running out on a job site, and then it's everything's coming to a halt. And, you know, they can't weld, they can't do anything. So that's a big point to get across. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's a big thing. Our project manager anytime we have something like that, nuts and bolts aren't on the truck or something silly. You know, we had 2 weeks ago, we have a big side-by-side to help pull some wire and, you know, just get around these big job sites. And, you know, it was leaking oil and then, you know, essentially lost the whole rear main. And so that wasn't good. They used it for 1 day. So the project manager has to put that in the issues for our, there's old Benji popping in. Benji. Yeah. Anyways, you know, the project manager has to put in the issues and we bring it up in our L10 on a Monday morning meeting. And we have to dive in and assess it and figure out what happened, who did this, you know, diagnose it and figure out what's going on. So,
it's a lot easier to troubleshoot It's a lot easier to troubleshoot all those problems in the shop before you go. You're out there in the field and you're on the radio or you're on the phone. Hey, did you check the oil? Hey, did you do this? Hey, did you do that? This, what could have taken you 10 minutes to fix is now 45 minutes while two people are standing there helping them. But I wanted to get over to these comments, man. We just have a ton of comments.
I know it is blowing up, dude. This is the first time I've seen the comments like this.
Really? Yeah. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Lowry. Jarrod is
I
a
love
dog.
that guy.
Awesome. I think we got JC Gurry in here. They are just Mark and Mary are just amazing. I know you get your signs from them as well, right? Well,
dude, what's crazy about them is I don't know how long they've been in business, but my family from Southern California has been doing business with them since maybe the 70s. I'm not sure, maybe the 80s, but yeah, they like when we got going and we needed fence signs, I called my cousin. I said, what do we do? And he said, yeah, these are the people. And that's the people we've been with the whole time. And I can't remember when, but we did a reflective sign with them. Gosh, I don't know, maybe 2012. I think I got that sign going. Yeah. 25
years for me. I probably had 3 different style signs with them over the last 25 years. And it's just the service is second to none. I mean, they're the type of people you just go around and tell about. I mean, anytime there's a new guy, who do you get your signs from? Call Mary. And I think they've been doing even shows and stuff for 40. Mary will have to tune in here and let us know, unless that's Mark. But they've been doing for like 45, 50 years. They've been doing the shows. And that's how long it goes back. It was Mary's dad, the very first one, which is probably who we originally were buying our signs from at some point. So it goes up family business, goes back a long ways. Let's go through some of these. We got Benji, you already saw. Who's this girl? You know this girl. She's
Mrs. K.
She's in the other room. Let's see. All Things Twiss. Get it?
Oh, that's my lady right there. Yeah, over 20 years married.
Yeah, it looks like My Fence Life themselves is happy you're here. Look at that. I think that's Susan over there commenting.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
What do we got? Mary Locke Gilgore says.
Oh, Latch, that's my stepmom. Yeah.
Is it? That's home. We got the whole family watching.
Yeah. I just texted her. I said, "Hey, check this out." So yeah, shout out to Mary.
I feel like there's something behind that. What up, Timbo Slice? I feel like there's a story behind that.
No, I don't know. Matt Lowry, he's a good guy though, man. You want a tech guy. That guy is like fast with his thumbs on that phone and jamming through stuff. And he's a genius on the whole marketing. Yeah.
And we'll get back to some of these. We'll get back on some of those. So I did want to ask you, since some of the stuff we're going to be getting into on the show coming up in the next episodes and even in between the episodes, how do you handle tools? I mean, tools going out and tools coming in and broken tools. And I'm going to ask you this question again after you watch the next video here. We'll bring Brian back in here. Exciting episodes. We're talking about My Fence Life breaking point. I don't know if you've got any pallets like this sitting around with beat up welders and generators and things like this, stuff that just doesn't work anymore because the guys were abusing it. And we're going to show you the do's and don'ts and what you got to do to get these tools out on the job sites and get them back safe and sound. I'm excited to bring you some of these future episodes to show you what we do at Las Vegas Fence and what a lot of people do at other fence companies as well. Let's just take this back into the studio. Okay. Man, I told you, he'll hog the screen, man. We got to really control that. This will turn into the Brian Life show real quick.
Yeah.
So circling back to that, what do you do? I mean, it's a problem for all of us. I mean, even with, myself. So how do you handle a tool, $800 cord drill or an $800 Sawzall or drill or something that goes out that needs to get back and make sure that it's still working?
Well, we've gotten really, really good about this lately. But I'll tell you one thing, right? You're not dealing with accountants and you're not dealing with pretty electricians that, set up shop in a coffee pot, like I said in the last podcast. I mean, you're dealing with tough dudes and they're going to be hard on equipment. One of the things that we've done is I've gotten to a point where everything gets engraved, every single tool gets engraved or welded on. And I want an RF or a ranch fence on it. I want a date That way, when we break something, I go, hey, maybe we could have used this more than 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So we put a date when it goes into service, and then we also put the truck that it's going on as well. I buy a lot of those tools from SWI. They're expensive, but damn, they're good. And like right now, all the crews are on one job, trying just to do a final push to get this damn thing done so we can get going. Well, tools are going to get mixed up. And so, they need every vehicle, every trailer gets a name and a number. And so the tool gets assigned to that with the welded on, and you can't really screw it up. My job is to eliminate dipshit circle. And I just try to go and make stops in there for things when they get screwed up. But yeah, I'd say date them and label them is key, and then assign them to a truck and to a person. So,
yeah. We're struggling. I mean, we've gotten to the point where, you want to buy the Milwaukees, the DeWalts. You want to buy them the best tools that are out there. And, but you got to almost get indestructible ones. And sometimes I get to the point where I'm just tired of buying grinders, tired of buying bandsaws. So I buy them in bulk at like Harbor Freight or something. And where I don't have to stress out. If one's no good, I'm not sending it down to the shop and getting, paying $150 to repair a $200 bandsaw. I'm just throwing it away. Or, just tossing them out. I'm piling them up, and every once in a while, someone will come in and buy all my broken tools and things like that. But I like, SWI. I think you and I need to do a trip to SWI and do a live from Mark's place. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'll do that. Another little trick hack. We have red electrical tape. I know you're supposed to use the tag out things from OSHA, but those, get dusty and stuff. Everyone has red electrical tape. We tape it around the handle. That means don't use. And we put it in the shop, and I try to stick with one brand of tool, although we just switched to US Hammer. So, God, I love those. Those are so badass. So I got a bunch of ready drivers now that I got to cycle out and sell or something. But yeah, we try to stick with one so we can mix and switch parts if needed, and get by until we get the new one. So
the US Hammer, I ran into I think it was Brian over at a rental show. I was just happened to have been at South Point where we do our show, and it was a rental show going on, and I saw him at one of those a booth inside there, and I remember we don't pound him when he posts. If we pound it with an old Rhino, PD, what is it, 45 or whatever. I've had it for 25 years, the same one, and use an inline oiler, and I've never serviced it, and we use it on rental fences and things like that. But out here we dig and set everything else, so we don't use it that often, so it lasts forever. But I saw that, and I'm like, man, that is one of the coolest looking things. It just looked cool is what it did, right? I don't know what the way the steel was, the aluminum, I don't even know what it's made out of, but it was really cool looking. And he came to my office, I think the day after that show that he was doing at the rental show, and he ended up getting a booth, and he pounded a T-post in my yard, and it's still there. I wish I wouldn't have let him, because I can't get it back out. I'm gonna have to cut it off or something, because it was one of those T-posts with the flanges that goes down and went down past the asphalt. I'm like, that stuff won't pound here. That thing just drove that thing straight down in the middle of one of these parking spots. I got to cut it off now.
Well, where he brings those, but he has also the jackhammer attachments for those things. And so, if you're digging holes, sometimes you need that jackhammer. So I think he's really pushed that in the fence industry.
They used to have these things. I worked for San Diego Fence, 30 years ago as a salesman. And they had, this is interesting. If you didn't know, whole different people now, it's been sold out and stuff, but they had 21 man crews. That's it. It was 21 man crews, and they would go out there and build fence. It was a lot of wood fence back then, obviously it was Southern California. And, they had these things called pone jars or something. I'm going to look it up and see if I can remember what they were, but they were I think they were gas powered, 30 years ago, gas powered little pone. It was like a rock bar with with a motor on it. I don't know if you remember seeing those.
Yeah, we had one. I think they're Swedish. We had one, and it just didn't have the technology. It didn't hold up.
This was 30 years ago. So it's changed a little bit.
Brian, you talking about, can we shift gears for a second and talk a little bit about you? So I don't know if you know it or not, but I snuck around and got some of your friends and family. And I asked them, I said, what do I need to know about Brian? And what does the fence world need to know about Brian, other than he's the black cowboy hat guy that's mixing it up and shaking everything up and starting fence shows and starting, fence organizations and stuff like that. Because, I mean, you are a real person. You're not just this fence thing and intense all the time. So is that cool if we dive in?
I mean, I'm not just the black cowboy hat. I got a brown hat too. And, I got multiple hats.
So, yeah. And if you don't like these questions, or topics, then switch it up, man.
Oh man, I should have had you send me these first so Susan can improve my answer.
No, that was the best part. Yeah, we got some old friends of yours and family. So
let's do it. Who'd you talk to? First, who'd you talk to?
No, I'm not telling you. So I told them I want a good question. So I told them, I said, I'm not gonna tell you who's asked the question. So talk about your fence history, your story. I know from the first time I heard you on a podcast with Dan, you were talking about being in Alaska, uncles, and driving, and just give a quick how you got into this and what your story is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like a lot of us, like you, it's in the blood. I mean, it starts young. It actually, Alaska is where probably when I was a teenager, by the time I got to Alaska, but even before that, it was Portland, Oregon. So my uncles owned fence companies, and I didn't really know my father much when I was a kid. So my uncles raised me. It was my mom's two brothers, and they both had fence companies either together or separate. It depends on what parts of my life it was. And fence companies for a family either bring you together or they drive you apart. It's a rocky and it's a tough line you cross on a lot of that stuff. So nonetheless, at times things were great, and at times things were the two families fighting, things like that. But I was always at one of their fence companies. I mean, I learned to drive by driving one of the fence trucks. And, I think I was probably, 10 or 12 when I was backing 20-foot trailers up, and it's just what you did. You weren't even, you weren't intimidated by anything. You were running materials in and out, the job sites from the truck. And then you were running the equipment. And back then we didn't have as much equipment though. It was a pair of fence pliers and hog ring pliers, and we didn't have impact wrenches. But nonetheless, I started building fence with them. Putting my first real job was putting nuts and bolts together. I don't know if you're a chain link person out there, they come in a box of 100, and the nuts come in a little bag with the grease in them, and you got to put it together. And different companies do it differently. Any company I always had or worked for back when I was a kid, you'd have to put the nuts on the bolts, and somebody would put those back in the box, and that's what the crews would take out and throw in their tool pouch with the nut on them. It was just barely on there. And my first job was like 50 cents a box or something. I don't remember what it was. And I got real good. I grabbed one, put it together. I put 100 bolts together in, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds, it felt like, right? So it was good money for a first job. So yeah. And then my whole family moved to Alaska during some of the oil booms. There was, back in the 80s and going into the 90s. And it was a great time. My uncles owned Anchorage Fence up in Alaska. And that was a lot of fun because they used to do a lot of work out at Moose Research Centers. And we'd go out there for like 2-3 weeks in a trailer. And of course, you're a kid, man. This was like a dream. We had 4-wheelers, 3-wheelers back then too. Oh man, it was just, and of course, fencers. I think it was maybe they just all seem so massive when you're a kid, right? I just remember them being these. I remember their hands. Their hands felt like they were like this long fingers, and they were just, they'd grab a roll of 9-gauge 8-foot wire on their shoulder, one guy by himself, and they just felt so massive. And of course, back then, my uncle taught me the rule, you weren't a real fencer until you lost a finger, and every one of them was missing a finger, and right. So to this day, I still interview people based off of what my uncle told me back then. When I'm interviewing him across the conference table and I see he's missing a finger, I'm like, you're good. That guy knows how to build fence. Interview's done. He's been around. But yeah, so then we moved back over to Oregon and stuff, and then California, and that's how I ended up here. But so it's been a long history of working for fence companies and in the fence industry. It's been fun. Yeah, it's been fun.
What about Southern California? How'd you end up there?
My family ended up moving to Southern California, and then one of my uncles, the same one that owned Anchorage Fence, and there was a crash in the oil. A lot of people won't remember this, but if you're in Alaska, it really hit you really hard because it was, the oil, there was almost like a crunch in oil, and the dividends from people living there went down, and it was kind of a lot of companies, a lot of general contractors went out on a ton of, I was young, we went out owing a lot of people money and stuff. So we ended up back in California in like the 90s, I think it was. And then one of my uncles got a job for San Diego Fence Company. And I just started, I was young. I was still about 13, 14. I was right around with him doing sales calls. We had a van He had do you remember the Toyota vans? Those funny looking Toyota vans, and he built a desk in the back of it. And my job back then was the Thomas Brothers maps. I mean, before GPS. And I would sit and drive him around from appointments to appointments, and he'd be in the back on this makeshift desk, and we'd do quotes in the field, and I'd be driving, and he'd be yelling at me, and and that's how I started learning to do sales, was by going with him on the sales calls. Yeah, and then just kind of grew, and then I eventually got a job.
Yeah, so you turned into a salesman there.
Yep.
Before an installer.
For San Diego Fence. So that was my first real sales job, and that had to have been 90s. It goes back to then. Yeah.
So someone said you got into some controls as well.
Yep. Then I started distributing access controls, and that was fun. Did that for a while. I mean, I think I was doing $1 million worth of access controls out of my condo, and I just had one girl would come in there, and we would just drop ship everything. And that was it. Yeah. It was, it was great. It was, I was probably one of the first people to pioneer some of this stuff online. I remember when I first built some of my first websites to sell access controls, my family, everybody said, "You're crazy. Nobody's going to buy $1,000 gate operator online." I go, "They will. I promise you." And, and I was working with some of the manufacturers to develop a authorized online. So some of those programs, I helped them with the authorized online dealer, basically. So you had to protect minimum advertised pricing and things like that. So, and that's kind of, then it got really flooded, the whole industry, and it got, everybody started driving the prices down. I'm like, you don't have to, but you know how the markets work. There's always somebody that says, "I'll do it for, for nothing."
Yeah,
and
then
it's just
the free market.
Yeah. And then and then I move on. I don't get upset. I just go, okay, I'm going to do something else. I'll go back to building fence.
What? So, talking about your jobs, talk about your, someone gave me a story about a retail store that got shut down.
A retail store?
I guess
from a hookah bar?
I don't know. They just said that I should ask you about a retail store that got shut down because a convenience store was.
Oh my! I know what they're talking about. I must have been like, I don't know who you talked to. Who was that? You have to talk to my mom or something about.
We're going deep, brother.
I'm going to be reaching out. We're talking about going back to like my junior high or something, man.
I don't know. I want people to know you other than the crazy black hat. So let's go. So, tell me the story.
Oh my gosh. So that goes back to like Warrenton, Oregon. I must have been in junior high. I had to have been. So I had all these baseball cards that I was collecting back then. I didn't know anything about baseball, but I loved the value of the cards, and I was just collecting them and trading them and selling them. So I wanted to start a store in front of my house that was in my driveway. So I sold all my baseball cards and collected up a little bit of money. And I had a hardware store. This is Warrenton, Oregon, population of 1,000 people. It was like tiny, right? So I went across the street to a hardware store, and I purchased a jigsaw. I think it was a jigsaw. What's the one with the little blade that goes out? We don't use them, but you know what I mean? When you're just carving out wood. So a jigsaw, because I wasn't old enough to have a skill saw, right? So I had to buy. The only thing that they would allow me to have was one of these things, so I didn't kill myself. So I bought like a bunch of 2x4s, plywood, and I dragged this plywood across the street because I could barely carry it. And I built this massive store before anybody realized I was doing it. And it was probably 16 feet long, 8 feet wide. It had a roof on it. I actually went out and bought a refrigerator. I had a little cash register inside of it, and I stocked this thing. I bought these jars to fill with candy. Back then, you could buy candy bars like 8 for $1, if you remember, not $2 each. You could find like stores that sell them like 8, 4, 6 for $1. And I stocked this thing up like it was a convenience store. I had Christmas lights around it. And next thing you know, I've got lines of people. I was on a busy road stopping and buying stuff nonstop. And
like a lemonade stand, but on steroids.
Yeah. And I had a door cut in the back of it. It was attached to the garage door, a door cut in the back, so I could go. And my bedroom was in the garage, so I would just go in and out through the garage. And I cut a hole in the garage door and a hole in mine, so I'd be able to close it up at night and things. So next thing you know, the local convenience store, I was getting so much business that they actually filed a complaint with business license department, and they showed up, and they were saying I had to shut it down, or they were going to arrest my mom, I heard, or something. Who knows? I was a kid, but yeah, so I got shut down by like a local 7-Eleven for selling too much stuff alongside the road. So I don't know who you got that story from.
No, we'll talk about it later. That's a good one, man. No, that was my family member. I like that. So it was in your blood from the get-go. Like at that point, they should have just taken you out of school and said, this guy's going to be an entrepreneur. Let's not waste any more time.
It was hard to tear that thing down too, man. It was so massive. Tearing it apart was more work than building it.
Yeah. That's cool, man. You should be proud of that. So switching gears a little bit, maybe a little bit fun. Can you talk about, what do we got here? I guess when you were dating, there was some line dancing stories and driving multiple cars every weekend.
No, I know who you're talking. You were talking to Yadira now. Now I know who you got that story from.
Yeah. That was a gimme, but tell me about that. What's it going on? Are you a line dancing fool from the 90s or what?
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Dancing all the time. that's how I keep so fit. No, I think I know what she's talking about. When I met her, I was down in Newport Beach. I was just visiting down there for a friend's birthday party, and she was having it at a salsa bar in Newport. And Yadira was in there. And I remember when she walked in with one of her friends, and I just kind of kicked my buddy under the table like we do. And I'm like, I want that. And the arrogance in us, right? So anyway, she's up there dancing around, doing her salsa dancing. A line of guys at the table trying to ask her to dance. And she happened to sit down next to me at the table behind me, and and the guys are lined up. I finally turn around because I can't dance. You know what I mean? I finally turn around and I just kind of reach over like this. And I'm like, hey, I can't ask you to dance, but you want to go to Catalina Island tomorrow? I happen to have been down there. And she's like, yeah, sure. And I don't even know. I think I was fumbling around. I couldn't even get a number on my phone. So and they had like a tablecloth with it was paper. So I ripped it off and gave her my number or something. And then I went back and because I told, and we had a little story real quick about it. I told her, yeah, I go dancing all the time. There's a country bar across the street from my house. And I go in there and, but I was just lying. I just wanted to, see her again. So yeah, then I booked a trip to Catalina. I went home at like 1 a.m. with my buddy, and I'm like, man, I got to book these tickets. I told her I was going anyway. So now I got to get these tickets to Catalina in the morning. And so I'm like at 1, 2 a.m. online booking tickets to Catalina Island so her and I can go in the morning. And then first thing in the morning, I get a message. She's like, I can't go. And I guess her friend told her, you can't go on no boat with some guy you just met. So the next week I was down there back in California, but I was renting cars every time I went, and I'd rent convertible cars, whatever I could find, nice cars, and I'd drive down there and I'm like, hey, I happen to be in town if you want to meet up. And finally she met up, and then for a while every week or so I would drive down there in a new car. And then finally, she had to fly up to visit me at this time. Now we're getting a little further into it. So she flies up to Las Vegas.
Wrap the story up because this is the good part.
Yeah, so she flies into Las Vegas, and I pick her up in my 1995 Dodge Durango. But in all fairness, listen, we've been dating for a little while, and it did have a TV in the back. It was one of those fold down. The TV didn't work, but that's not the point. It was leather seats. It had a TV in the back. So that's when she realized I didn't just drive convertible Mustangs. I know who that was.
So talk about, I did find someone that that is pretty has a little bit of clout. He's one of the main project managers at a casino, big casino, by the way. Anyone who's listening, I was like, damn. But anyways, he wants to know how you feel about marketing. It sounds like he's impressed with what you do and kind of how you guys got to do business together.
Yeah. Well, I think I know who you're talking about. I think you're talking about Joe. But it's most likely. But yeah, I market a little differently I market a little differently, I think, than a lot of people. I believe you have to do something different than what the other fence companies are doing. And I remember how I met them at Venetian. How I started doing work was I sent out a almost like a club card, almost like a membership card to be a member of Las Vegas Fence, and you get discounts if you for like 2% rebates or something for, and the card was free to be a member of, or not even, it was like a grocery store card, except for fencing. It was stupid. So I went online, all the LinkedIn, Facebook groups, and I found every project manager, every contact I could find, and I happened to send him an email. And I remember when he finally called for a quote because one of the other fence companies didn't show up, and he didn't want a 2% discount. There's no way to even for them to process that at a large corporation like that, right? But nonetheless, that's how I actually met and got the work at Venetian, and doing some of the work over there was from doing that and the mailers out like that. That's funny.
Yeah, no, he was really impressed with that. And what's cool about that is that you just went out and hustled and got it. And that's what us entrepreneurs do. It's like,
yeah,
I like to say, when we're hitting roadblocks and you're fighting someone on something and you're like, Jesus, can we just get this done? I just stop and I go, hey, look, there's a million reasons why this isn't going to work. Let's start looking at the reasons why it's going to work. And that's what you did there, So this question is actually from me, and I've thought about this, and I know we've met quite a bit and hung out, and we haven't got to this because we have so many other things we need to talk about. But what I've always wondered about you is, so you are all over the place. You got Las Vegas Fence, you've got the FWA, you've got the Fence Show, you're, I don't know, in Newport Beach all the time, and you're on social media more than any other fence guy.
Yeah.
So can you talk about like who's running what, how much, like how many, what's your imprint on each piece or, input? It sounds like you're still doing the fence thing.
Yep.
Check the trucks.
You left out. I probably got ADD too. I get.
Yeah. No, we all know that. Yeah. We the fence industry learned about your ADD 18 months ago.
So I'm active in every single bit of it. So you're right. My day starts off at, I get up about 5 a.m. Sometimes a little earlier if I got to do some stuff on social media, about 5 a.m. And by 6 o'clock, I'm over at Las Vegas Fence. And like this morning, getting the trucks out, making sure I was the one that checked the trucks out and, and asked them all the questions. Do you have lunch? Do you have this? And then for the next couple hours, we're looking at the work orders. And then I try to transition back over to some social media stuff that's going on with our other stuff. And I start talking to Susan, and we start talking about the Fence Show and if booths were sold. And then we maybe get with some of our ambassadors for the demo days outside. And then I, talk about that. And then I get with Melissa on the Fence magazine. And we kind of go over, this is just it becomes a natural part of the day. And we go over where's the Fence magazine at? Who's on the cover? What's going on with that? And then we talk to Brooks, and Brooks comes in on the Fence University stuff. And we're like, hey, what do we got going on? And by the way, we've got that coming in 18th, 17th to the 5-day thing going on the week of the 18th. Some training on that. So we're going to do a 5-day training, which is going to be the same quick start class we've been doing, but then there's going to be 3 days of the access control side of it. So it kind of flows in. So it'll be more hands-on even than it was before, because we're moving it over to this facility where we can actually install some operators outside for the advanced stuff. So, and then we talk about the Fence University stuff, and then it just, and then I start getting some updates on the FWA health. And so I stay pretty active, on everything throughout the entire day. And then the nighttime comes and I try to do dinner with my wife, and then have her tell me, what we need to get done and collect and, stuff for the fence company. So, to answer your question, I stay active on it all. So my role is still, still there on all, it doesn't go away. This podcast now is just going to get added to it, on top of it.
That's right. Yeah. And you brag about my team. I mean, let's talk about your team a little bit. I mean, who's in charge of each one of those aspects? Because you can't do it all, right? You got to, delegate and elevate, right?
Yep. Yeah. And I don't put out the magazine anymore. Maybe that first couple, a year, I don't know how long has that been going? A little over a year now. Right. And that first couple of magazines I would spend weeks on. And now Melissa, which is my daughter that works here, she has taken that and she's taken it to a whole new level that I wouldn't even be able to do because I'm unable to, to dedicate that much focus to it. So she spends all month on that. But now it's to the point where other than just quick updates, I don't even look at the magazine anymore because she handles that, till the end. And I just do my edits or, review it. But yeah, you're right though. There's a good team behind it because Susan, I couldn't do this without Susan. I mean, the best decision I ever made was having her come on full time with FWA.
And what role does she play?
She's the executive director for Fence Workers Association, but she oversees full time. So she oversees pretty much everything. And, my go-to answer now to people is, hey, email, Susan at Fence Show. and she'll, she'll tell, decide whether they actually need to, it needs to get escalated back over to me. But a lot of times she just kind of handles that. But if she didn't, it would interfere with the rest of the stuff that I need to work on. And then Letty, I don't think a lot of people, if anybody that does get a booth or do anything with the fence show, not only is she the general manager at Las Vegas Fence, she literally is the contact person for a lot of people with their booths for the show. So everything does cross over. Marissa, if you haven't met her, she handles a lot of the property stuff with the catering and anything we're dealing with the property for the fence show. So she really kicks into gear here now pretty hard. She'll be going 7 days a week here soon, getting ready for the show. So there's a lot going on, and I think we've assembled a really, really good team. There's no doubt.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, that says something about you.
Yeah. They do most of the work. I think I just come on the podcast now at this point, but but my first podcast, ironically, was Dan with Dan and Cannon and on My Fence Life. So, man, I just remember. Yeah. Did you watch that one? Yeah, that was. I was nervous as hell.
I'll tell you a funny story. I don't know if I told you this, but I heard it in the pickup when I was running to town, maybe to lunch or something. I don't know. And when I came back to the shop, I went into our office manager. I said, "Look, buy everyone memberships to this FWA, get us tickets to the show, and see what kind of sponsorship they need." I was like, we need to be in Vegas. I'm so tired of not being in Vegas. Yeah. I mean, when we started out in 2005, it was in Vegas every other year, third year, whatever it was. That was nice. And then anyway, so yeah, kudos to you, and I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah,
so.
The property did help a lot too, where it was at. And everybody thought I was crazy, when I said I'm going to do the show, because we already had the association going. But when I said we're doing the show, because I wanted to bring it back, also back over to the West Coast, and hopefully to branch out beyond that. But when I said we needed something else over here for a little bit more action for all of us that can't always make it, around the country. So I went to a lot of places, a lot of the bigger convention halls and the bigger convention centers, and that you can get more space. You can, you can do a lot more at those properties. You can even get some bigger booths, and you can do, a lot with them. But it wasn't fitting what I felt the fencers really would be able to do, and they would be able to bring enough people. Because now you're talking $300-$400 hotel rooms instead of $75 rooms, and you're talking $15, $20 beers instead of $6 beers. And, that really does, just charging for parking alone at $30-$40 a day, that changes everything as well. So I wanted something that, the fence, I didn't want them spending their money on the rooms and spending their money on the drink, on all that stuff. I wanted, the high price drinks. I want them to be able to sit down and enjoy themselves and be able to actually buy a round of drinks. It's a big deal for us guys. I don't think, and gals probably too, but I'm just talking about myself. It's a big deal for me to sit down with you, and you brought your whole team here. And if I was to be able to sit down and buy a round for you guys, but if that round is going to cost $800 or $80, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
Sure. And me getting to, feel proud to walk up. And I think that's, that's another reason we chose that property. So I think that was a big part of the success of the first show, was that property.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Let me pull up a few more of these comments so we don't forget anybody on this thing. What do we got? Tim Hudson. What up, dog?
Dude, Tim's awesome. That's I flew back to Magnolia Fence in Texas, and Tim and I hung out, and Matt Lowry and I are on a peer group every other week, kind of just coaching each other up on getting some commercial work going. So he's a baller. Yeah.
Let's check this guy out. Look at this, man. Dan Blanc uncensored. I don't think anybody felt he was censored before. So, he could have just said Dan Blanc podcast. He didn't have to say uncensored. You know what I mean? Huh?
Hey, Dan, just in honor of beer, bourbon, and business, I got some bourbon going on here for you, man.
Oh, look like we got the women of FWA on here. Oh, my goodness. And that could be one of many. We don't know who that is. Oh, this guy again. Look at this guy. He liked the show much better than that Dan guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're way better looking.
Yeah. He's been drinking already, you can tell. Right? And here's a blast from the past. Cannon Johnson. What's up, Cannon?
One of the OGs right there.
Yeah. Michaela. Do you know Michaela?
Do not.
Yeah. We'll see her. If you come down to the show, obviously you'll meet her at the show next time. She's a really big part of the women of FWA. I believe she's doing, and get Susan to nod her head if I can see her. I believe she's handling a lot of the social media as well. So that's why you
Yeah.
see her so much. She's been amazing. She's always amazing helping out.
Yeah,
JC Gurry.
Yeah. I wanted to fly down there and have this first show live with you. I just my daughter's graduating high school this week and just wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, JC Gurry, man. Everybody loves JC Gurry. This is, remember when I was saying Letty in our office? This is our general manager and also the one that handles the contracts on the fence booth. Yeah. So she's watching up in the front there. So she loves her. She does all the ordering. And that's a pile of junk. I'm assuming that was Susan because she's on the video when I had all that stuff in the back. Let's see, who do we got? Oh, there's Mary answering your question, I think. From that's Mary from JC Gurry. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. 1970. Right. Crazy, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's Chris. I think he's gonna be coming to work for us locally here.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yep. That's actually Joe. That's Joe's. You talked to Joe, obviously from Venetian. That's his kid.
Nice.
Yeah. So
what's gonna be his role?
Yeah, he's amazing guy. He's got a ton of energy. Work ethic is, I think he fits in line with a lot of your guys. And hopefully we can bring him in. He's going to go out in the field and learn fencing, and then we're going to slowly work him into helping. I need someone to go open that gate up at 5, 6 in the morning so I don't have to. So I want to come in at 7. All right. Yeah. What do we got here? I haven't read it yet. Robert, what's up, man?
Dude,
Purple coaching, hey. Man. I love watching that. What he's done with that, man. It is growing fast, isn't it?
You know what I love is I think the other day we were going to dinner and I said, stop. And there's a big giant purple van. I go, I got to send this to Robert. anytime I see a purple tennis court in Palm Springs or a purple taxi in Italy, I'm like, this is coming to Robert.
Dude, I found some like grape licorice, like purple licorice. Yeah. And I think I posted that and tagged him too. You can't help it, right? Anything purple now. It's just an instant picture.
Wait till you go to his place. There's purple.
What do we got here? Billy Grove. Do you know Billy Grove?
Do not.
Yeah,
maybe.
He's got the Gatekeepers podcast. He's also really big helping us on. He's one of the Demo Days ambassadors, and he is doing a lot to help with the fence show stuff as well. Awesome. So we were on his show last night, me and Susan. Let's see. What do we got? Chris, I hope to keep my fingers. Right? As soon as you lose that finger, Chris, give me a call. You got a job. Who we got? I just don't want to forget anybody on this. I didn't realize there were so many comments in here.
No, it's been blowing up though. They all come at
once. This is crazy. but anyway, I don't want to keep you on too long. I know you got tell me about your daughter, man, valedictorian, right?
Man, I'm very humbled here recently, and I'm just getting like emotional. She she's straight A. She's one of the valedictorians. She's got accepted to Cal Poly. She's got over $10,000 in scholarships. So it's every single night this week. We had valedictorian dinner she has awards dinner starting here in I think another 30 minutes for just senior awards. And then we got graduation and all that stuff. I'm just really proud of her. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to sneak out of here in a minute.
Yep. Yeah. I figured. That's why I was just trying not to keep you.
Yeah. She's, I'm pretty humbled. I couldn't ever get her in the fence. She didn't want anything to do with this place, but she's also twice as smart as I am.
Yeah. She could get a real job, not like us.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And I'm honored. I want everybody to know what a big deal it was for me to have you on here. I'm honored that you would take a time, because I know you've had dinner after dinner, because we were talking about you coming out here and stuff. So for you to be able to take this time and the communication we've had even since over the weekend and yesterday and today, for you to take that time in the middle of all the stuff you got going on, I can't thank you enough for that. It means a lot. And to have you on for the very first guest I have is amazing, because it does make it a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
Well, so thank you.
Let's do it like an increment every 10 or 20 or whatever you got going. I'll fly out to Vegas. I'll have more time.
Yeah. So let's wrap this thing up. You got any final thoughts you wanted to say or add? Yeah, I'm all good. For everybody listening, thank you, because I know it looks like we've got quite a few followers on there still watching, and all the comments. Thank you for the comments. This is going to be posted everywhere, so you can go back and rewatch it. Stay tuned for some of the next episodes, because it's going to be a lot more in the field stuff as well. I'm sure Jarrod will be on some of these next ones, meeting with us out at some other facilities, and we got a lot of really cool guests that you may know or may not know. So stay good out there. Keep building that fence. We will see you on the next show.